Hello there, and welcome to my channel where I read Unhinged and give my thoughts on stories from Reddit. The topic of the day is horrible bosses, so let's jump right into it. Am I the bumhole for firing an employee after his parents died? I'm going to jump in here and say yes without having even read the post yet. I'm the VP of sales at a software company, and one of our sales development reps' parents passed away at the beginning of April. Sadly, they were involved in a car crash and both lost their lives. Now the employee in question is a very young 22-year-old guy and has been with us for about 10 months now. He's a great employee and we were thinking about promotions in the next 6 months for him. His job is a high-paying one for a new grad, about $90K with commission and base, so we expect a lot from this position. Because of the accident, we let him take a 1-month paid leave of absence from work, and he's returned a few weeks ago and his performance is severely lacking. He's super unmotivated, not cold calling out reaching to prospects for the last 2 to 3 weeks enough since he's come back. Our whole management team has noticed this and we decided to let him go because we feel like he'd need months and months to be able to produce again, and we can't just wait that long. We called him into a meeting on Friday afternoon and gave him the bad news. He was very calm and rude about it. Told us to go fuck ourselves and got up and went to his desk, grabbed his few things and left. I thought this was very, very unprofessional and extremely rude. I told my boyfriend about all of this and he said myself and my management team are a bunch of asses and pricks with no hearts. Am I the a-hole? Update. Holy shucks, this blew up. I know this was shitty of me now. And I reached out to him to see how he's holding up. He's staying at his girlfriend's place and she's supporting him a lot right now. I offered to get my headhunter friend in touch with him when he's ready and he accepted. Oh, my God, I don't even have the words. Yes, you were absolutely the a-hole OP. I mean, I know companies have to survive and, especially nowadays, need to make money. I've also worked in corporate America long enough to know corporations don't give a flying banana about employees. But, this is on another level. Seriously? Both his parents died tragically and unexpectedly, and after he comes back to work you all think he should be back to his high-achieving self in a few days? I just can't. I'm glad OP saw the light, but the fact that he or she even had to ask is beyond the pale. I'm not even going to ask what you guys think because I cannot imagine that anyone would think this is acceptable. Also, side note, if in the USA I don't even think this is legal. Jesus. Okay, moving on. Next up. Am I the a-hole for refusing to buy a coworker lunch? I, 23 male, have a coworker, 25 male, who is a mooch. If you get something for lunch, he wants you to get him something too, but expects you to buy it for him because since you mentioned it, he says you offered. At first I thought maybe he had money problem, but then overheard him laughing and bragging to someone in another department about how he was able to scam lunches out of his coworkers, and he's attempted to bully a free meal out of someone more than once. His general entitled attitude is one of the many reasons I don't like him. So yesterday my girlfriend and I had lunch together. He overheard me confirming before I left and asked what I was bringing him and I said nothing. He said I brought it up, and I corrected him. No, I was confirming we were still good and he was eavesdropping on my conversation. He started complaining so I had if he gave me money for his food I'd bring him something, but I wasn't going to buy him food. He started complaining about it again and I got irritated and said no money no food, and then I left. When I got back my boss said my coworker complained I was being hostile. I told him what happened and how he's constantly trying to weasel free food out of people, even some of the people he knows are struggling. So my boss asked around and several others corroborated what I said. My coworker got dragged into the office and now he's pissed that I told and how he was just kidding. Most of the office thinks he got what he deserved, but a few think it wasn't worth getting him in trouble over. Today no one he asked told him what they were doing for lunch, and he's whining that we're alienating him. I said he alienated himself because of his behavior. He said I'm an asshole, but I don't really feel bad that a mooch who thinks it's funny to scam his coworkers thinks I'm an asshole. My little brother is on here a lot and suggested I post though, so am I the a-hole? I always wondered how people are not embarrassed about behaving that way. I think I'd be embarrassed even if I was doing it as a prank. On the one hand, I think this is so crazy that it may be fake. But then I remember all of the people I've worked with in the office and realize it is probably true. I also find it hard to believe that someone would be willing to do this to everyone in an office. I think people like this tend to be more selective with who they target, so I'm backing to thinking this may be fake. How about you guys? What do you think? Have you ever had something like this happen to you? And, if so, what did you do about it? Well, this next story is not technically from the office per se, but close enough. Am I the a-hole for getting my interviewer fired? I, female 27, went to a job interview for a potential job opportunity at this company. The interviewer, we'll call him Eddie, 30-ish, welcomed me into the office and had me sit down. First thing he did was look at my resume, then started asking me questions that seemed a little too personal and unrelated to the job. Like if I was in a relationship, whether my eye color was real or just lenses. Also asked about how I spend my time when alone, and what type of dudes I like. Like legit personal questions. Don't know if he was testing how I react, but I kept it cool until he asked me the question of what my greatest weakness was. I responded by saying, keeping up with your inappropriate questions and answering them politely. He looked at me upset and then told me I had an attitude. It was clear that the interview was over. He told me I didn't get the job, which I found unfair because I don't think I deserved to lose the job over what? Nothing. I got into an argument with him, then told him I was going to report him. I went to speak to the supervisor and filed a complaint against Eddie. The supervisor apologized to me and tried to reschedule a new interview, but I was hesitant about it. Later I was told that Eddie got fired, which made me feel guilty. My mom and dad agreed that his questions were inappropriate but said that I went too far by reporting him and having him fired. Eddie tried contacting me via email saying that what I did could have been resolved between us and even said he could have arranged a new interview for me, but I ruined it for myself and cost him his job. Am I the a-hole? No. UOP is not the a-hole. Unless she was applying to be his escort, I don't see how any of the questions were even remotely relevant. And she didn't get him fired. He got himself fired over asking highly inappropriate and unprofessional questions. I also don't like the fact that the parents told her that she went too far. They are part of the problem. Allowing this type of behavior to continue. If he is doing this now, in an interview, imagine what he could or would do once someone is hired and he doesn't have to put his best foot forward. And don't get me started on the fact that he found her and reached out to her after. Not only is that a precarious, if not all-out dangerous situation for any woman, but it's a legal minefield for a company. It really bothers me that we still live in a culture that continues to tell women to make excuses and take responsibility for the bad behavior of others, especially men. This is his doing, not hers. Now, I don't think she should have confronted him. Mostly because it could have escalated further and it didn't need to go there. But, either way, he needed to be reported. I do hope that OP has some friends that are more supportive of her and more aware than her parents. The fact that they added to her doubting that she did the right thing just bugs me. Anyway, I am shutting up now. So, what about you guys? Do you feel she should have reported him? Put it in the comments and also put down your gender. I'd love to see if there is a divide between the binary and non-binary genders. Do you think she should have not said anything to the interviewer and then just speak to the supervisor privately? For the women out there, what you ever been put in a similar situation? If so, what did you do? Okay guys, we've come to the end of our stories for today. I hope you enjoyed them. Don't forget to come back next week for more crazy stories. And feel free to submit your own stories or suggest other subreddits where I can find even more unhinged content. Oh, and remember to subscribe, like, comment and share if you are enjoying the channel. Catch you next time.